If I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't tell all that the Lord has done for me. So I'll keep on singing praise. Waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine. Ooh, waiting for the sunshine. Waiting for the sunshine.
Welcome to the Room 412 podcast, where we talk about real life issues, but through a Christian perspective. My name is AJ Hawkins, and I'm here with my wonderful co-hosts, Sister Kiara, John, Chris, Marissa, and my little sister, Brianna. Jermaine in the back. I know you guys see a different setup here. Like I said, Brianna's here. I just want you guys to pray for me and my family. My wife's not here because, her grandmother went on to be with the Lord. And I just ask that you pray with us through these times.
Amen.
Amen.
And we're going to get this episode started.
All right.
So, all of us the parents here.
Yeah.
For a reason. We did something.
This guy. Yeah, though. Yeah, I know, right?
Right.
All of us got a lot of kids.
No, I got one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Y'all the ones. Well, you got
We
one. You
just
got
got one, y'all.
One.
I guess we got a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Not together, them two. And then.
That's crazy.
No, but yeah, we want to talk about Christian parenting. Since we were all Christians. So how we want to start this thing? You guys want to let's go back to when we were younger. How do you guys think that? Because all of our parents, well, I know for us, I don't know how you guys were. Your parents raised you raised in a Christian household. They was. I'm about to speak for everybody.
No, it was.
I know I see him there now, but yeah. So I want to talk about pretty much give examples like how did growing up in a Christian household or not? I don't depend. How did that influence us and stuff like that?
I feel like I always go first, but one thing. So my thing is like 2 steps. I think I'm the only one here, kind of. Mine is like 2 steps. So Christian parenthood, but then like preacher kid is like another step above that. But one thing that just really stood out to me, especially now, is how faithful my parents were to church. We were always in church. My dad worked in church day in, day out. So just seeing his faithfulness and him just basically being, we went to my uncle's church, and just seeing him serving there really taught me a lot about how to parent and how to basically extend that same ideology of servant to my children. So that's one way for me. I'll start there.
I thought I had to so how I don't know. I couldn't imagine being a PK.
Yeah.
Like
It's not.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It's a lot, but it teaches you a lot about people.
That's great saying.
It'll teach you a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
As I watched my dad, and then there's a lot of things that I said growing up. Of course, we all said that I would never do that. Da, da, da. You need to do this. You need to do this. But now that I'm in ministry in a capacity myself as a deacon, I kind of see that he was doing it for a higher purpose. It had nothing to do with him or the people. So along the journey, it sucked, can't front. But on this side, I kind of see it a little bit.
So what do you think? I don't want to just keep it on you, but just for conversation purposes. I know a lot of PKs, or I guess all of us could speak to this because we've been in church a lot growing up. How did you stay in church? Because a lot of people, like I said, like a lot of PKs, they were in church for so long and they were drilled God, 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But when they get of age, they just left.
Once again, it was two things. Being a musician,
Yeah.
that I don't know if I'd still be here if I didn't have the drums to kind of pull me along while I was, not liking it. But like I said, on this side of the journey now, it makes sense. There was a switch that happened at some point. I'm like, oh, okay, you doing this for God. And my dad educated us along the way. Hey, I'm doing this for God. This ain't got nothing to do with the people. They're not treating me like I'm still gonna do it. This is not working out. I'm still gonna do it for God. This is for God. So through the education, and then a switch happened in my teens, I would say. That's kind of what helped me realize it. And studying for myself, you know what I'm saying? Seeing what God asks of us made me realize, okay, my dad is doing the right thing, even though it's not working out for us in this moment. You know what I'm saying? And then still seeing the blessing on the other side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was tough, and then my dad would say, hey, as a family, we're all doing this together. Hold on. The
Right.
sun's going to shine. And through that turmoil, but seeing God be faithful on the other end, seeing God be faithful on the other end,
Yeah,
that
for sure.
helps pull through too. So
Yeah, but it's also that scripture too. You train up a child in
That's
the way
true.
they should go.
Mhm.
So when they
Yeah.
get older, they will never depart from
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So it's
true.
always instilled in you. So no matter how much, I don't want to speak for you, but no matter how much you say, yo, I'm not going, you always get
You gonna
that
go anyway.
feeling
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
I know for me, it happened for me. So
Definitely.
yeah.
To piggyback, I guess, off of what John said, I'm not a PK, but my parents were deacon, or are deacon and deaconess in the church, and my parents were very faithful, like always there. Whenever the pastor went out, we were always in church, and I find myself doing the same thing, like if my parents aren't there, but the pastor has something to do, I'm always there.
Right,
I make sure I'm there. I'm one of the faithful few, as they call it. And I always, make sure I'm there. I just feel like it's kind of like, I guess, my duty,
Yeah, yeah.
to be there. And I feel like, I guess in a sense, I'm like moral support, to see a face in the crowd that's familiar is just like, oh, at least I know that my member came besides family,
Right, right, right.
and I feel like my, I guess, faithfulness from my parents, I ended up being a trustee, and it was just like, I didn't want to. I didn't want to be one.
But how do you feel like, because it's, you see your parents do it, that doesn't mean you're obligated to do it. So how do you feel now that you see yourself repeating the same steps? Like, are you doing it because your parents do it, or are you doing it because, like, I really enjoy being a part, or, like you say, the trustee? Like,
I mean, I guess it's kind of like both. Like, I'm doing it because, like you said, it's in me, to go to church. When I don't go on Sundays, it's just like, so what am I supposed to do?
Like
what
you
do
being
do?
bad or
yeah,
something.
I mean, but I guess like John said, I did it. I had to know God for myself, and to know Him for myself helped me to be like, okay, you know what? I am gonna stay in church. Like, and my dad, he's like, or both of my parents are like huge on tithing. They're like, whether God blesses you or not, you gotta give. So I became a tither, and I make sure I tithe all the time. And now I instill that in my kids. Like, now Sky could walk, so it's like, all right, you walk up there and give your dollar
Right,
too, like
right.
So I think it's just kind of like a trickle effect. It's not a generational
Yeah.
curse, but
Yeah.
it's kind of, I guess, like whatever the opposite of a curse is, it's like, generational blessing. There you go. Like, it just trickles down. And it is, like the scripture says, train up a child. So, yeah.
It do feel like a curse sometimes, though. I ain't gonna front.
No,
It,
yeah.
it can feel like that.
When you're tired, like, me, I used to come from school and have to go
Oh
to
my
church, and
goodness.
I'm doing homework
Yeah,
in
but-
church, and I'm tired.
Us, when we grew up, going to church was recreational a lot because we had all of us. It was
But you
mad.
were
But when
tired,
got
though.
There, like when you
Yeah.
got there, it was like fun. I know
I
for
was
me,
straight.
church was okay. So I grew up in a church. It was mad of us. Like it was
Yeah.
mad of us, and it was fun. But on the outside looking in, when I started participating in things in school, the curse to me was that my parents were never there.
Like sports, you can't.
Like my parents were never
Right.
there because they were always at church, or it's always something that I wanted to do. Like I did singing, so there were concerts and stuff. I mean, my parents are supportive, but they weren't there. They were supporting the church, so that kind of like, I'm never gonna do that to my children growing up. Like if you want to play a sport, or if you had a concert, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna be there, and stuff like that. I don't think that God will be mad because I say, hey, I'm gonna, now taking advantage is one thing, but
Right.
but being there to be supportive,
Of course.
I don't think that God would be mad at
I would
that.
be in the league right now, but I couldn't play.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to
Please
that
don't.
point. We're gonna put a
Please
bookmark
don't
in there because I really
listen
want to
to any
speak
of
about
that.
that. That's something we can go to. But I want to get everybody's else's examples. I'll go because I usually go last. I want to kind of go in a different route. So the influence that growing up in a Christian household had to me, I think it was a very good one. Like she said, like a blessing type of thing. Because like, all right, I know all of us probably. I grew up in the hood, like you feel me. So it's like,
I didn't.
oh, you didn't? I'm sorry.
I didn't grow up
Oh,
in
all
the hood.
right. Well, I know me.
I did.
I know me.
I did.
You were in the house
I was-
with me.
I
Oh, I
can't
don't even know. I don't know where y'all live.
I was exposed.
Oh, you was in Westlake. All right, so I feel me.
I was exposed.
All right,
We
whatever.
beat
All right,
niggas
so
up like
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like,
For me.
so I always had a different. I always had a different perspective on what was going on around me, like, and I never really was like in the streets like that. Cause like you said, like when we came home from school, like I had a little bit of time to be outside, but I had to. We was in church every single day. Yeah,
Especially
so-
Bridgeport days.
Yeah, we was in Bridgeport every single day. What was it? I don't know. Yeah,
Monday
yeah.
meetings, Tuesday
Yeah, Monday
Bible
meeting,
class,
yeah,
Wednesday
yeah.
something,
No,
Thursday
Wednesday's
rehearsal.
Bible class, Tuesday.
Some meeting.
Right.
What-
Thursday
and
Oh
rehearsal.
no, we had basketball practice
Oh,
on Mondays.
basketball on
I think.
I would have been
Yeah,
that kid
yeah,
that said, I hate this
Yeah,
church.
we had yeah, but like I said, so it kept me away, and then also like
Keeps you out of
my
trouble.
parents weren't those parents to like have me live by the street code and stuff like that. So I wasn't. I had like I said, I had a different perspective, and then it's like as a Christian, and if you live in that life. Like people say, like the religious little light of mine, like you got this light to you. So oftentimes, like, so I used to be outside, trying to run with people, like you feel me, and then like all the OGs and stuff be like that, like, you about to go do something real quick. Nah, AJ, like you got to stay at the crib, like, cause you different, like you got to stay. So then it's not for real. But they was like, yo, you
'Cause you
you
different.
can't come with us.
Right,
You like you
you
got a
can't
future.
come.
Like you got something going for yourself.
But that's real
Yeah.
friends.
Like, you
and
feel me?
stuff,
Like-
and real,
Right,
that's
see?
real
Yeah,
friends.
so it's
For
like,
real. They see your
so I'm
potential
saying,
before you
yeah,
do.
so it's like my upbringing is like I was, even though I was in there, like we grew up with the
Like,
same
yo.
type of people, like I was different to where like people ain't, not like they didn't want me around, because like I was a clown, so everybody wanted me around, but it's like, yo, we about to go do that. Nah, yo, AJ, you got chill, yo, you the church boy, like you feel me? So it's like,
But they called you a church boy, but you were a beacon of light to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Like you were like their hope.
It looked like
So-
they protected you.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
They
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
doing
like that.
names, but they was
Yeah.
like, nah, you stay away from this.
Yeah, man, I was in school, like, and even back to school, like, fast forward, like, to high school, like, it's funny, I was talking to my mother-in-law about this last night. You know how, like, in the yearbook, you have those
Yeah.
superlatives and
Right.
stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got, like, one year I got best dressed, one year I got trendsetter, because, growing up in church, like, I brought that style to school. Like, I was coming
With
with
style.
Oh, you was
sweater,
fly.
I remember.
You
with
was
the
flying.
button-ups, with the ties, with
The
jeans
tie
and-
trivet?
You
The
feel me?
cardigan.
Definitely the
you feel me?
tie trivet.
Down to the
With the
burgundy, you
chucks.
feel me? Yeah, with their chucks and all that stuff. Like, so it's like, yeah, so it's like, but it's funny though, because all the underclassmen and stuff like that.
Like,
So,
yo, he
like, my
fly.
stuff was fitted. Like they came, like dudes was coming looking like remember Doug, like the remember
You was
Doug?
coming to school
With Think
looking like
Big,
Jim
Think Big.
Black?
Nah, no, I wasn't. Nah, but like they was coming like, so like, you feel me? I come with the this different type of blazers. Like
Yeah.
you wear the blazer with the jeans, but they'll come with
Yeah.
their suit blazers.
Yeah.
Coming looking like
They ain't know how to match
looking
it.
crazy.
Like the
Like,
NBA draft.
yeah. But not even that. But it's like, all right, so
They ain't know how to match it. That was
when we did like even like the basketball team too, like as being that light, like we brought a lot of kids, from, like dealing with hard times and stuff like that. In families, we brought them in because of the light that we were and stuff like that. Yeah, and then like even like certain things, like when a lot of stuff will go down when I got of age to be out, like I was out, I just didn't want to do certain things. So
Yeah.
it's just like how it is,
Yeah.
like when it's a big crowd, like a big like I don't know. Everybody fighting and stuff like that. I'm like, dang, I ain't going with it. Like, you feel me?
That's the
Like, you
Holy
feel me?
Spirit
Like,
talking to you.
yeah, like if I say you get a certain type of discernment. And
That's
all that
right.
stuff, you
Yeah.
feel me?
That's right.
Yeah,
Jesus.
like
Yeah.
so. I mean, that I think growing up in a Christian household, it kept me out of a lot of trouble. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
wasn't no
for
square.
sure.
Like, you
Right.
feel me? But
For
yeah,
sure.
but also, yeah, that's parenting. But I guess on another level of parenting, I could talk about your dad, like being like a spiritual father. Like he wasn't the type of he kept it real. Like so, like I said, growing up in the hood, like a lot of the church dudes would be like squares and like pushover and stuff like that. He always preached that what he used to say, don't take my meekness for weakness and all that stuff. So you feel me? I still knew how to navigate. Like
Right,
Yeah.
right.
like
Yeah.
so yeah. So
How? Oh, I want you guys to go.
Yeah.
I have a question after.
I'm on the other side of that coin. I grew up a pretty hard life.
you just said you ain't grow up.
You say you soft like.
No, I grew up in an abusive home.
Oh, okay.
So
No.
All right.
all
right.
Yeah, see?
That's a different role.
I grew up in an abusive home, and it was my real dad that was the abusive one, and at the same time he was so fire because he's the one that taught me fishing. He's the one that taught me. He's the one that taught me foraging, being outside, how to take care of yourself outside, other than like say if the power grid goes out, it's
Right,
like
right.
how to do
Survival tactics.
survival
Survival,
tactics.
yeah,
And my
yeah.
dad was a big conspiracy person. My dad had that. My dad, I will never forget it. My dad used to remember the big booty computers, the big bats. Yeah. My dad had 2 of those in his room lined up, and I would always see him on it like typing. And there was one that it was always codes. And there was another one he used to like doing flight simulators, where it would be like actual time. And, shout out to Montel because he actually does it too. But he would do that. But come to find out, my dad was hacking into government files.
Oh, you sure you allowed to say that?
Yeah, and
Well,
I
they
didn't because he would. I would like go. I was like, let me help you out or whatever. He'd be like, nah, Nick, sit down somewhere or whatever. But he used to do stuff, but he knew so much. And then they came and took his computers. I remember it was like 2 white guys with buzz like them military cuts. They came and took them computers. them crew cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. They came and took them computers. But he was that kind of person. But he was also a drinker. So when he would drink, like when I was Joseph's age, like I remember, don't laugh.
I ain't gonna lie, bro.
That dude threw me down some stairs.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, and like mad other stuff too. So down the road, my mom finally got divorced, and she finally like broke out of that. We was just so at that time, I was just trying to survive
Yeah.
and still be who I was, and I wasn't understanding stuff either because somebody hit you or something like that. You don't understand why you're getting hit.
Right,
There's no
right.
reason behind it. So further on, my when my parents actually divorced, my mom actually started going back to church how she was.
Okay.
And I grew up in CCM church, and that's where I was like taught. Like I mean, not taught, but like I seen like the way people did things. Like it wasn't a fashion show. It wasn't. They would come together literally, and like they be coming in there with just like a t-shirt with some jeans and some like back then was even like the people they wear them construction boots.
Got it.
They would come and stuff like that and just be praising God and stuff like that. So it was a different thing for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So and then going further, as I grew up, I felt like my mom was trying to get herself right, but still take care of kids also.
Yeah.
Because I noticed after a while, the churches I was at, I was like, I'm just not feeling it like how I was before. And then that leads me to the present where I found where I'm at now. And I was like, oh, shoot. This is like a different way to look at things, and I was like, but so that's just like my journey through. So it's like, and then my mom got married to my stepfather, but I don't call him my stepfather because he knew me since I was 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's literally one of the people that said, yo, you need to go to church.
Right.
You need to do this. You need to do that. And then that's when my grandmother came in. And that's when I started hanging out in the hill. And then that's when I started getting buck wild. Because I started to get to understand the streets a little bit. And I was like, oh, this is how you shuck and jive around here, whatever. So,
Chill out,
that,
chill out.
that was that. And then after that, I just grew into my own person and just saw what I had to focus on me instead of focusing it on the whole family, like what's best for the whole family. Because I remember I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to go here no more. And she was like, well, if you don't want to, you don't have to stay. She was like, just properly leave by telling or having that conversation.
Yeah.
So my mom, she did play a factor in that. But yeah, that's how that went.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know for me, my parents, it was definitely a Christian home, but I think my grandmother was more the staple as far as taking us to church all the time. My parents were, they were always working. So they would go to church, but it was just on Sunday type of thing. But like the during the week stuff, like we would be with grandma. But even then, like Bible study was still kind of optional. But if we had like services or anything, we was with grandma. So she was more what helped molded our Christian household. And like you all have said, like there was eventually a switch that went off for yourself, like to find God for yourself. And I really think it was more so like my parents for sure, like because eventually my dad himself got deeper into church as well, and he became a deacon and all those things too. My mom was always the faithful usher. Again, she could only do really Sundays, but they were faithful church goers. But I think it was definitely more so my sorry y'all, something in my eye, can't see. But my but it was definitely my grandmother that really helped mold help mold my Christian walk, or know like if I do get caught up in this world and trying to keep up with what's going on around me instead of staying focused, like because of how she brought us up that way, I was able to find my way back. Because there was definitely a time where, you go through that stage, you're trying to figure out life for yourself. And a lot of times, God is not on your mind. You totally forget about that factor. But I tell you what, God know how to bring you back. And the thing is, even though you ain't think about him, you know it was him when it happens. Because it's always like, yup, I know exactly why this happened. But at the same time, you're always so glad when that happens. And then you automatically think about how you were brought up, like, all right, that makes you think, I got to go back to the basics. Because clearly I'm wilding.
Right.
I need to figure this out. But
Crazy out.
definitely that upbringing in my household, but definitely my grandmother's upbringing in that was a big part of that. Because it helps you find your way back. Even when like I say, even when you're not necessarily thinking about it, when that thing happened, you know what to do because of how you were raised. So I think it was more so my grandmother that was a big part of that part of my life.
But that's big. That foundation, though, it's just
It's really
that
big.
conviction that you get when you out here just doing whatever.
So that's scripture. Train up a child. Someone else.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
So that is it's instinct. It's like it's second nature. You know what to do. Again, you wasn't thinking about it, but you knew what to do. Like when that happened for me, like I knew I was like, all right, let me stop. I had to start really praying, really reading, really fasting, and really being serious, because you realize like, all right, I'm not whole. Like there's parts of me that are missing, right? And I know why. So let's go back to what I really know. Right. So
I do have a quick question. We all come to mention about how, as kids, we started off, and then somewhere along the way we got a little crazy.
Yep.
I want to know, and I know me and F are probably closer to this because, as Tristan, we got Zoe. What challenges are you anticipating? Are you worried about as far as, trying to protect your child?
Yeah.
Because we still have to train them, right? Some just like our parents did. Yeah. They said, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what we're a Christian household, so this is what God says that you need to be doing. What challenges do you anticipate? scared about, or are you currently facing? You guys, y'all still got babies, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you're thinking about it. Like today, me and Key was like, yo, in 10 years, Zoe's gonna be 22.
That's crazy. In 10 years is nothing.
That's
Right,
really
but think
nothing.
about those years that we were talking about. Those were
Those
between
are
12
years.
and 21.
I see
So
that
I
all
can
the time.
definitely
You know?
speak of those fears from my side, because I know, or those challenges rather. I know that for me, I grew up in a church home base. My family is so, holy, for quote unquote. It's like it's bloodline. That's what it is for me. That's how I grew up. So it's this way or no way, right? And we're very Pentecostal. So I grew up in a Pentecostal home. So it's very strict and structured. So when I got older and I was able to, do my little thing, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not really around for this, yo. I'm probably about 18. That graduation. After your graduation, and you hang out with your friends. Oh yeah, your mom give you a little freedom. She's like, oh yeah, you could go hang out with your friends. Y'all celebrating whatever. For everybody leave and go to school. Now, what I snuck and did,
What you snuck in.
is
Right.
what I snuck and
It's the
did.
difference.
Is a difference. Now,
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, what I was able to do outside when I was with permission is what I'm talking about. We're not talking about what I snuck and did. My mama don't know all those stories. Ain't put me on blast.
Not too much on me.
Not too much.
Not too much.
But once I got 18, I went a little crazy. And God kept me in my craziness because I was not thinking about him. And it was just like that one day, like you said, you wake up and you like, yo, how did I get here?
Right.
Who am I?
Woke up in the crack house.
Yo, it's funny,
No,
but
seriously.
it's so real. Like,
It's
yo, it's
real.
so real. It's like, yo, God, you kept me through this. Nigga, I should have died last night. Like, I encountered some things. So I'm scared for that, for my daughter, because, for all my children, because the world is different.
It's different.
People don't look out for you like they used to
Yeah.
when we were growing up. The world is different. It's so
Other
many
people was
things to
able
get
to-
into.
you was able to get beatings by
Yeah,
other
like
people.
It's a different
it's
type
so
of code
many,
out there,
right?
like
It's a different. So it's so
loyalty.
many things. It ain't the same. So it's so many things for these kids to get into, and I'm just so fearful. So I'm really trying, because I don't want to put my foot on her neck where she's unexperienced and she go away from school. Now I done lost my daughter. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just
Right.
want to be able to, let her have room, but I want her, I can't make the choices for her. She has to make her own choices. And then I have like, 4 boys coming up. So, that is a whole nother trauma because I don't want nobody to kill my boys. So, it's a
Right.
lot going on. So
Right.
John said that, we were talking about that in 10 years. Like, my kids would be 22, 17, 15, 12, and 11.
You know I do
You
math.
must have graduated high school.
Just adding 10 years.
So it's crazy. It's scary because that's nothing, like y'all said. Like it's so. My challenge is how can I instill the right things into her
Yeah.
To them.
and then
Because-
with letting them live their life a little, because our parents had to trust that with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we did we failed them.
Yeah.
We did. But we
did.
came back around. Thank you, God.
Yeah.
Like we came back around. We turned out all right. And I guess our parents had to trust in that with a lot of prayer, because I know there was a lot of times where our parents was
Man, let me tell you
praying and stuff like that.
For
so
sure.
I'm just like, I really have to trust God in this situation.
I don't even
What you
think
was
about
doing,
it. I don't
John?
think about it.
What you doing? 'Cause you
Mario
wild
Man.
over
It
here.
was crazy
Reminiscing over
outside. It was crazy
crazy.
outside, y'all.
Yo, but you know what I
And
do?
it's even crazier.
I do want us to think about, because us growing up, you mentioned that you grew up in a Pentecostal holiness,
Groping.
Pentecostal holiness household. The Christian worldview has changed a lot too.
It has.
That's
The,
true.
the principles
Yeah.
that our
true.
parents, our grandparents instilled in us as Christians, as
Yeah.
believers of the faith,
Yeah.
a lot of that has changed
Yeah.
to today. So a lot of the things that we grew up learning are now being told that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Whether it's politically incorrect,
Yeah.
and different things along that. So like, how should we can just discuss it? I don't have an answer, but how should we or can we navigate still being relevant with our children, right? Because you don't want to seem. We all have that old church person like your family. You don't really know what you're talking about. It's different.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but the word is the word.
Yeah.
The word
Yeah.
don't change.
Yeah.
God don't change.
Yeah.
So how can we navigate these waters of raising our children in a modern world where a lot of our principles and a lot of our beliefs are challenged? You know what I'm saying? You tell
And
you
changed.
right.
Yeah.
We grew up. It is what it is. We grew up. Noah, rain, and the rainbow was a sign of, God's promise to us.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
it's gay
Not so
pride,
much.
and whether it is or not, that's the conversation that you
Right.
have to
Right.
have
You
with
have
your
to
Yeah.
You
have
children.
have
that
to. You have
conversation.
to.
You know what
have
I'm
those
saying?
conversations.
People have different family structures now. You have to have those conversations with your children at a young age.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The content that they can get through TikTok, YouTube, TV, these are conversations that you have to have with your children at such a
Yeah.
young
Yeah.
age. And you still want them to be, you don't want them to get in trouble in school, right?
Or be judgmental to
or
someone
be
else.
judgmental.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And some of our kids, Jaden, will just say what's on their
Yeah,
mind.
he will. He
So
will.
if you tell them,
He sure will.
what we believe, and he sees something that is the opposite of that, he's
Yeah.
going to question it
Right.
to them.
Right.
Because that's
right.
a child.
Exactly. So, I just kind of wanted to think about how can we navigate as Christian parents, in instilling the principles of God and of His Word and His commandments to our children, in the world today.
Yeah,
I
so,
think it's. I think. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I think the same way how we instill tradition and stuff like in our heritage and our family roots. I think we should do it. Do the Bible the same way. Obviously, what we learned from our heritage and our family roots, it didn't make sense to us when we were younger.
Yeah.
We had to grow up and then see where it apply and then apply it, or see why we do things this way or whatever. For
Yeah.
our boys, we have to raise them. You guys are 4 kings, so you can't. There are certain things everybody don't see y'all this way, because we're black. You understand?
Right.
So I think the same way you instill those principles and standards and stuff into your children should be the same way you should instill the Bible.
Right. Because we said it in another pod, the other religions and other faiths, their children are
Right.
learning at
Yeah.
young ages
ages.
what their faith believes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Right.
Yeah, but they
it's
said
Right.
education. You gotta really educate them. Consistency.
Right.
Consistency.
Consistency,
Yeah.
not just making sure you continuously drill the truth into them,
Right.
but consistency in you too.
Yeah.
Right.
Because children are sponges.
Yeah.
They are.
I can't tell you to not drink,
Right. Right.
and then I'm drinking every day.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, you feel me, stuff like that. Or also another thing is getting back into the question that you asked before about what do you have the things that you're worried
the
about with your kid and stuff
challenges.
like that too. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand with this. From my example is like you said, like we said, and you too, growing up, there was kind of a community of younger kids doing things. So like now, as far as Tristan, right? Because he's the oldest. It's almost the exact opposite of how I was growing up. Like, so I came into our church when I was 12, and it was all the boys my age. So I know growing up as a black man, the streets is something that that we have to deal with. That's like
Yeah.
the biggest draw.
Yeah.
Like, we want to be the hood dude. Like, we want to have the cars, the jewelry, all the women and all that stuff. That's what we really want, because those are the examples that we see. We see all the rappers, we see all the basketball
Yeah,
players who try to
yeah.
be the rappers and all that stuff. You see all the dudes in the hood. Those are the ones that's getting all the girls and all that stuff. So it's like the company that you keep. So, like I said, so the direct opposite. Like Tristan, he come here. I mean, you can't really help. Well, you can't help because you got to go out and evangelize. But who we have now, we really don't have like a lot of people his age. So, like, for me, like I said before, it was easy for me to keep my eyes on God because I had y'all to lean on.
Right.
You feel me? And then we had people above us educationally to where we wasn't just trying to get our word from the pastor, which is sometimes kind of hard to digest.
Especially at 14.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to digest.
Right.
So you had your children's church and all that stuff, but also down to the little ones, and I know it's on us too. A lot of the kids in church now are just looking at tablets. You feel me? So I know us, like, we got word in us just from just hearing it every Sunday. We hear the words of the songs, we hear the scriptures that the preacher's talking about.
Right,
We hear all this
have
stuff, so
all
we
what
had
they
that
have,
foundation.
yeah.
So it was just pouring into us, and we didn't even know. So even before anybody had to say anything, it was just there.
Yeah.
Like,
We
you
had a
feel me?
reference point.
Yeah, you had a reference point. So I think that just kind of makes it easier for you to navigate. Like I said, you got people with you that you could, latch arms with. It's like when I fall, like, you pick me up and all that stuff. There's an environment, and plus, like, you getting saturated with all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I know I kind of veered away from the question. But
No, it's,
you
it's,
did.
No, that was
it's,
fun.
it's
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
community,
community,
and it's
Yeah.
important to to have.
But also, kids today, I think are I don't know what they call them. Is it like incel?
you something like the short attention spans and stuff like that?
It's like that, but then like they don't want to talk to. It's like they're emo.
Oh, you talking about introverts, like
Introvert.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
like
they
you
don't
got
wanna-
social what is it?
Anxiety.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they don't want to
computers
talk to each other. Like
Yeah, but that's like as a young age, you gotta.
you gotta build
You gotta
that.
build
So
that,
like
yeah.
for instance, like
You know what? Because I have people probably gonna knock me for this, but I have
Yeah.
Oh,
a
don't say
issue
Go ahead.
for like the what they call it, the Montessori learning, because that's teaching people to be anti. You're teaching.
Explain.
You're
I'm about to
teaching
say,
your
because
kids.
everybody probably don't know what that is.
Right.
I don't know
So
what that is.
I'm probably
Yeah.
not gonna have the
fine.
perfect definition, but from what I learned from Montessori is basically teaching your kid how to be independent and in life choices, like as far as like dependency, as far as like food, clothing,
Chores.
stuff
Yeah.
like that, like letting them be able to do it themselves. And and I feel like when you go, because I know someone who's in school to be a Montessori teacher.
it's like a thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you learn it in psychology.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I feel like you are teaching your kid to be antisocial because they're not operating with anyone. They're in their own space and they're learning how to do things for them. Now I can be wrong, but from information that I gained from Montessori, that's what I found out.
Well,
You
if-
can look it up.
If that
Well,
is
no,
true,
it's
not-
more
I'm
so
not
like
privy
it's.
to
I
that.
mean, that could be like in that setting, like a little bit is. It's more so everyone has their own milk. Like you're all at a table, but everyone has their own milk. It's
But-
not like you're passing the milk around.
But don't you have your own milk anyway in school? I mean, we pay for that.
Yes, but it's more so. It's more so.
Where you go to?
No, it's more
everybody
so.
sharing the milk.
No, it's more so. Perfect example. Like now. No, perfect example is that. So like. So like like when your kids when it's like early in the morning and your kids come in and you're like, Mom, I'm hungry. So with JT, he's like, I want cereal. So before it'd be like, I gotta get up, I gotta get the bowl, and now it's just like, at home. Now it's just like
He can do it himself.
Right, JT,
Yeah.
go get your own cereal, pour your own
So,
milk.
Can I
That's
be
what-
devil
Not at home, though.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But they're. I mean, it's
So-
more so life skills. That's what it
Okay.
is.
So now my question is, because I challenged the person who's going to school for it. That is, I consider, I'm probably gonna get bashed again, that being a lazy parent. Why like?
why
so-
won't I get up? Because I'm tired. Because I work.
Well, you have a child,
Right.
so
no.
you're supposed to get up and
That's
I
not
don't
where
wanna
my
get
head
up.
went. Why can't my
I'm about to
kid
say,
learn
that's
how to
not
pour
where
his
my
own
head-
milk?
that's not
No,
where my
that's
head
not a
went.
problem. But should they learn how to pour their own
Jermaine
milk
got
at
something.
2?
Jermaine
We
got
they
poured our own milk.
If they
Yeah,
can.
I poured my
You're
own
gonna
milk.
learn how to pour your own milk anyway. That's what they teach in regular
If my kid can pour his
schooling.
milk at 1, that's great. I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I mean,
no, I'm just saying.
Okay, so
no, I'm just saying.
I can
exaggerating.
I
I'm
can really
exaggerating.
debate this because
No,
I
that's
really have an
fine.
issue with that.
No,
So
and that's
I'm sure that's not the
and,
only
and I
thing,
guess
but
that
I
goes
can't
back to
relate
that's
to
why.
that.
I mean,
can
but
you
that
pull
goes
it up?
back
Like
that goes back to
Montessori
different.
teaching?
That goes back to
I don't want to go down a rabbit
No,
hole.
I have.
that goes back to how
But this
everybody
is
parents.
tags in
Everybody,
parenting.
Okay, go ahead.
right. Everybody parents differently. So
Yeah,
it's just like
absolutely.
You're the type of mom that will make your kids food. You know?
Interactive.
That's fine. I'm not. I am interactive with my kid as well. It's not like that's a every single day thing. But it's just like you are getting older. So it's just like, whereas before I may, like Zoe, you may tell Zoe, oh, make your own, I don't know,
Absolutely.
beef patty.
Because she's 12. I'm not going to
Right.
tell her that at 2.
Right, but
I think
JT's not 2, JT's 6.
No, I
so,
know. I'm not
strong
talking
enough
about
to pour
you
your
for
own milk,
JT. I'm
No,
talking
right, but
about
I'm saying-
they're
Right.
teaching these kids. I follow these pages. They're
No,
teaching
I'm
these
not
kids
saying-
at like 3 to pour their own milk, to cook their own food, to clean up their own room, to wash their clothes.
Right.
Like,
these
that's a
are
lot.
no, it is a lot, but they're just
stressed.
but that's just life skill. It's like you teach your kids life skill.
I
I mean, that's
agree.
no different
In
than
time.
no, right, but that's no
I gotta see it
different
more.
than
I don't-
teaching
it
your
don't
kid,
make sense.
you know, that it's like you teach your kid as young as possible, like you're black, you know, like you're black, know that you're black, and you may get ridiculed as a little boy for your skin color, you know.
Right.
It's the same thing in a sense. You could say it's different, I agree. You know, I may get ridiculed for it as well, but it's just like, it's nothing wrong with it. Now, once your kid comes home, you can pour him milk at 2 and get him to do his own things at 2. But these are just,
My-
So,
you know.
but why do you need to learn these things at 2?
Wait.
I don't think you have to.
Let-
But if you
let
want to
this-
teach your kid that,
All
then I
right,
think
so
it's
this
fine.
is the.
I understand it's a free world. You can do whatever you
No,
want in
this
the
is
world.
alright.
But my thing is, why do we need to, like, why do we
No,
need
my thing
to
is you
teach
don't go
them
to
at
school.
2?
School. I need you to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic.
But they do, no? That's
No,
like
they
having
do,
a home
but-
ec or something like that.
Yeah, home ec is in middle school.
Yeah, it is. I'll make it.
You
Yeah,
have
but-
home ec
Yeah,
as elementary
middle
school.
school, yeah.
And you do learn, you know.
That might be an American thing. I don't know.
Jermaine wants to say
Jermaine
something.
wants to say something.
Hey, come on, brother.
You got to give him your money. I want breathing over here.
This might work. I see where you're coming from. I think for me, I started teaching JT how to wash clothes early on. Like,
See?
but that's because
That
he's
made me
watched
camera.
me wash clothes. So
Right.
now it's like second nature. Let's
Right.
throw this in there.
Right.
But then also, one thing I've learned from also having a child that's autistic, you want to teach them those type of life skills early.
Yeah.
So when he gets older, he will know it and have those.
Right.
And then I also had a friend, she said her parents taught her those things early on too, because say if, you know, God forbid her parents was to pass away, at least she can say, yo, I taught my child this. So everybody raises their kid differently.
Absolutely.
And then also with the thing with the children and daycare, because that's really popular in daycare, they give every child their own carton of milk.
Right.
So instead of that
carton
one
of
teacher,
milk?
instead of that one teacher going around passing everybody their own milk or whatever the case may be, they teach them how to do it, and they could, you know, set themselves up.
It's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like, you know, at some point, like, the child should be able to be a child.
No,
You
I think
understand?
you're still being a child. You're just teaching them life skills early on instead of
pours
waiting.
milk.
Like,
So even with my
It's more than pouring milk.
I mean, even with my son, like I've noticed, like Brianna and I, we noticed that
Yeah.
there's some milestones JT did not do. It took him a while to do that every child kind of got instantly. One, talking. So we literally had to like spoon feed him words. Same thing with putting on his clothes. We was watching his cousins put on their clothes instantly, but we had to teach him how to do it. So some kids
Right.
need to be taught how to do things,
Yeah.
and they
Right.
do things at different rates.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I agree with
That's
that.
that's a
You
good-
are
yeah.
living you are living in parenting to teach your children for when you leave this earth. Essentially you are teaching your kids how to operate when you're dead. So that's what parenting is all about. I get that. But I just feel like there should be an age where you introduce certain things at a level. This is just me.
But also, you know what I
This
think
is
But
too?
no,
me.
wait.
But I think it could be an American thing too. Like there's other countries that kids know how to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll say.
Okay, so let me say this. Let me say what before you go on, Chris. I don't have a problem with kids learning how to do stuff. That's not what I'm saying.
All right.
I'm just saying because you said, there's kids, and you said the same thing, and Jermaine said the same. I don't have a problem because I am teaching my kids right now to learn how to do stuff like. What's his name? Jackson. I'm teaching him how to go to the bathroom on his own because I'm tired of changing his butt. That's some sort of Montessori learning as well. So I understand that, but I just feel like there should be a limit to what a kid should do at a certain age, and things should come in, like he said, developmental stages. I don't feel like they should learn how to wash clothes at 2. Like, what are you doing? You gonna get out of work and wash clothes?
Is that mortuary learning?
Montessori.
This is that mortuary learning.
Essentially, Montessori.
Dog.
Essentially,
You know,
what?
nigga, you know what I'm saying.
Okay, so essentially, Montessori learning is just basically teaching
Everyday
kids
learning.
life skills.
Life skills.
Yeah.
But that's what they're going to school for, to learn the life skills. Now, I'm sure there's an academic part to it,
Right.
but it's mainly honing in on how to teach them to do life skills, to be independent, and that's okay. And like I said, I could be totally wrong. I'm not the
No, you
Montessori
Gucci, it's
person,
cool.
so. But that's just my views on schooling and you know how I would be as a parent. Everybody parent differently. We acknowledge that, and I'm not against children learning things. We acknowledge that as well. Okay, everybody for the internet.
I kind of
All right.
want to keep
No,
it rolling. I want
I
to keep it rolling.
get that, but I was gonna say only because, like, for instance, like with Ryan, Ryan, she's a people watcher.
Yeah.
Like, she wants to do it.
So she wants to do it, but the thing is, when I go to help her, she doesn't want the help. She wants to figure out herself. Like the only thing that she won't do that, like right now, like she loves fruits. Right now, she'll go she's 2.
Yeah.
And she'll go in the refrigerator and go get her own fruit. Now she can't reach the bowls and stuff like that. So then I'll have to assist her. But other than that, like anything, like she'll put her jacket on. She'll want to get dressed.
Right, because
Put
that's
it in
her.
a-
That's where she is in her developmental stages.
Yeah.
Kids want to be independent, which is fine. They can be independent. I'm just saying, like, I just don't feel like there's certain things like my children,
Like cooking.
like my children, Joseph, he wants to do stuff on his own right now. He can't even do nothing. He's barely standing and walking, but he wants to do it on his own. But that's their personality. That's what kids do. That's innate. That's something that I can't help. Now, am I gonna train and drill it in my kid head that, okay, when you get up in the morning, you go make your own breakfast? Am I gonna do that at 1? No, I'm not gonna do that at 1. Now, when he's like 2 or maybe like 3, not even at 3, like, because his big sister's gonna do it for him. So, eventually as you get older, now Jackson go get me his breakfast and say, Mommy, I want this. We're gonna make this. And then he likes to watch how I make this. Right. So that's okay. No, I'm not gonna say, now here go your supplies. I'm gonna get you an apron and get you your own stove and stuff, and you're gonna make that for yourself. I'm not gonna do that to my 3-year-old.
At a certain age, they shouldn't have to do certain things.
That's just my opinion.
But what if they take interest in it though?
No, it's one
And
thing
that's
taking
cool.
interest in it. Mommy, can I help bake cookies? Of course,
Because
that's one
Ryan's-
thing.
Because she'll see us.
But I'm
cooking.
not gonna
She
give
has a
them the
cooking-
cookies and you cut the dough out and put it on the tray and
Not
then you
saying
put
you
it in
need
the
to learn how
oven
to cook
because
your
own.
that's what some parents allow their children to do. Child safety,
Like
whatever.
without interest there.
Right.
Okay.
Even without interest, but even with interest, that's what they allow their children to do. Now, I'm different. I'm not gonna do that I'm not gonna do that.
I have another question.
Yes.
So, I want to go back to what you said about when you were talking about your parents, how they were in church so much, and you had certain things and they weren't able to come and stuff like that. So, what are you guys' views on allowing your kids to do certain things? Like, I know sports, like Pop Warner and all that stuff, is on Sundays. A lot of the dance recitals will be on Sundays and all that stuff because that's when everybody's off.
Yeah.
What are your guys' views on missing, like, church for these things, allowing your kids to do these things that they want to do? What are you guys' views on that?
Well,
I can't view on that because I'm not.
I know for John and I, our son is going to be playing football come August. So we're like very involved in church.
Which one?
Jaden. So we're going to be, I told John that if there's some way that we can alternate, like, even with grandparents, like, because everybody in my family is involved in church. My sister, my dad, my mom, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, me, my husband. Like, we're very involved.
His
so,
godfather.
well, yeah, his godfather, but
It's me.
but yeah, so we're involved in church. But sometimes, we can't just miss it every time. I know I'm very involved with my children, so him playing football is going to be something big. It's my favorite sport, so I really want to be there. But I also got my sister saying, nah, I'm auntie, I'm coming in, and we gonna. So it's good to know that I have that support, so we can kind of, alternate. I don't want my kids to miss out because I'm going to church. Now,
I feel you on that.
if I have to, because I miss so much. I was in dance, and I had the absence of my parents. Like, I know I'm probably making my parents sound very horrible, but they're not horrible parents. They were just dedicated to their positions, and so I missed the opportunity to do dance or to further my career in dance because I had to give up that because I couldn't do recitals.
He was nice.
I was a little son. I mean, I danced for 6 years. I mean, I thought I had it under my belt. I thought I was going to Juilliard, but I thought I was really good, but that was that. So I feel like, I'm going to try my best to be there as much as I can, and also, kind of be in two places at the same time if I can. If I have to leave early or if I have to come a little later, like, whatever I can do.
I think it's balance too.
Finding balance.
One thing that I do want to instill in my kids, just like my dad instilled in me, is
Couldn't see him. I'm like, what's he doing?
as you become an adult, there's so many things that can take you away from that community that we talked about. A house of fellowship, being able to come somewhere with a group of people, get a word, and work towards something for God. So I want to make sure I let them know that it's about balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that can easily go from every Sunday you playing, you doing something, and then as an adult, you think that church can be put on the back burner for whatever you have going on in life. And I'm totally against that. So that's my battle. Is just trying to find that balance. Because just like I could have been in the league. But I couldn't play on Sundays. Pop Warner on Sundays, and it sucked because
the NFL on Sundays too. You know that?
Yeah. But all the boys from the church would go down to the field and they played for the team.
You just sitting there with slick bottoms.
Yeah. I wasn't even playing drums at the time.
Running routes in the sanctuary.
Throwing rocks at everybody's car.
So I do have that piece too. Like, I want you to be able to enjoy childhood, go play your dance recitals, your football, your basketball, whatever it is you want to do. But you do have to still put God first.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you have to take this walk
But
seriously.
that also teaches sacrifice, too.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Early.
Sacrifice for what?
Sacrifice the things that you want to do for God.
For God.
Yeah,
if you're playing football like all the time, and then your game is on Sunday, and then you can't make it, or because you have church, I feel like that's a sacrifice because you could go to the game.
That's I can't play football because it is.
No, because the thing was I was playing track.
I can't even start.
I was playing track and I did football, and guess what? I played all them games except for the Sunday game because we had games during the week too, also. But when Sunday came around, that was church time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about when you was in school.
Yeah.
Schools.
Yeah.
My mom was like, "You gotta go to church. Football's cool.
That's the
gotta go to church."
alternative too. It's like, I guess you could play for your school team because all the extracurricular stuff like the AAUs and the Pop Warners and all that stuff, those are on the weekends.
And
We
we see
school.
we see athletes all the time put their faith on the foot. That's an option
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not able to go to church, but we see athletes put their faith as a part of their career and their personality on TV, which is their way to acknowledge God and extend the message of Christ too. So there's different ways. I'm not,
And I think too, it's like that foundation that we keep talking about. in the off season, I guess you could say, as long as I think the way I view it, as long as you keep educating your child, like you said, keep putting God 1st and all that stuff. When you don't have the games and practices and all that stuff, you're still going. You as a parent, that you're just not going to church and all that stuff. Yeah, I think that's big too. Cause my thing is like Tristan, he wanted to do extra stuff, and like I work in the church, and like we were raised, yo, you ain't supposed to do nothing on Sundays. Like you can't work on Sundays. I haven't worked on a Sunday in I don't know how long. So I was telling my job like I'm not working. Like yeah. So and I when I was growing up, I didn't really like play sports like that much. Like I probably played on like a team here and there, so I didn't have the same thing that you was talking about. But like I said, when it came to Tristan, I'm just like, oh man, but it's that balance. So I know like what we used to do. Since I work in church, Sam used to go, and then I go after. But now when basketball season started, in the AAU, like it's travel. So like we was in New Hampshire, like Mohegan, like doing all this stuff. It's just like, well, I can't go after. So it's just like, and it's another thing too is like, I know you guys are like that too. Everybody's like that too. We're big on family. So it's like
For sure,
you can send your kid to do the things that he wants to do, but I need my kid to know that yo, I'm here for you.
Yeah,
I was there.
For sure.
Like I'm here for you. Like I remember my son said one time, well now since now he got older, I missed a couple, but he was like, yo, Dad, yo, I realized like you ain't never missed a game. Like
That's big.
that's big.
That's big.
That's
That's
big,
real
yo. I'm
big.
here for you. Like you
Yep.
know. So that's another balance that you got to do. It's just like yeah, like I got to be here for church. And I got to be here, you know, for God and all this stuff. And it's like my son's over here. So that's
Because
I
your
know
kids
that's
can
another
resent
battle.
God for that too.
Exactly
That's
true.
true.
And like I know I hear a
I
lot
was
of
about
like
there.
about I mean
I ain't gonna hold
that's not
you.
me, but like PKs they say a lot of time like their parents you know spend so much time like and not on them. So it's just like I didn't want to you know
That's
yeah.
for real. That's how it was.
Oh yeah, like like you said, resent God. I'm like, yo, I ain't going to church, man. I can't even play ball. Like, I ain't even doing nothing. Like, yeah, like,
Yo,
so,
God, why you had to make them ministers and evangelists and stuff, man?
yeah. So,
You always taking my
I
parents.
guess, I mean, like
Because JT's growing up, he's gonna want to do stuff.
he ain't got no, just kidding.
You ain't got no say.
No, I guess really to honestly go back in the conversation about
Not Montessori.
no, not
doing
Montessori.
that.
Before when John was talking about it,
I will
I
cut your
can't.
mic off.
I'm cutting all that out anyway.
I can't like concrete of think what he said, but
Talk 20 more minutes.
no, I think it's good to be honest and vocal with your kids
Yeah.
about
Yeah, for sure.
everything. Like talk to your kids. A lot of times, kids are always like, "Why?"
Right.
You know. And I was just talking to Jermaine about it, or my mom, or something, and it's quick to say because I said so. You know, but I think you gotta be like. You got to be honest with them, you know.
do.
For sure.
It was so funny. I think it was today or yesterday. Jermaine said something about Negro. JT goes, "What's a Negro?" And it's just like, you know, I had to be like, you know, it means you're black.
Yeah.
You know, to him, brown, because, you know, they don't really know that we're called black yet. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Already said
I know who my dad
black
is.
hat.
My kid's Black Panther.
Nah, but like, not to cut you off, but I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
You're talking about the way your parents raised you and the way you raised you. So, Sam, my wife, she's
West Haven native.
Yeah, all right. She lived up like she was in a household where it's just like speak your mind type of thing. And I like when we grew up, it's
That
like
wasn't
because
the
I said
case.
so, shut up. You in the case plays. Not really my mind tells us to shut up, but yeah. So it's like, so we got two different ways of raising our kids. So it's like, well, I think it was Aunt maybe the first one to be like, why? Like I got pissed. Like you saying why? I'm ready to hit him. Like yo, you ain't because it's just that's just
What's
what
programmed in you?
programmed in me. And so me and Sam got into it, and then I just had to sit back and realize, yo, he's saying why because he actually doesn't know,
Understand,
and he
yeah.
wants to understand
Legit
and
know.
be educated.
But it's our
I'm
parents'
ready to
fault.
like
that
wild out.
They
on
did
him.
that to us.
Like yo, you're like yeah,
like
yeah.
you don't got no business. Oh,
Yeah,
you feel this
exactly.
way because
Right.
I say you feel this
Right.
way. Like, but I do have feelings,
Right,
and I
that's-
do have business.
that's
Like,
something like it's important to talk to your kids, like
Yes.
even biblically, you know, like
yeah,
I ask JT often, both of us, me and Jermaine, it's like, why do you come to church? Or like when you're in church, like what do you do? Like what do we do when we're in church, you know? And we pray with our kids every night. And so it's just like JT one time before. He's like, "Why do you like going to church?" Because I like to pray. And it's just like prayer is a big thing. So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a 5-6-year-old to be like he loves to pray,
Yeah,
does,
that's
you
big.
know,
That's
it's
big.
big.
You know what's crazy? I don't keep cutting you off because we got mom in us, so I know you about to talk long, and I be talking long.
Wow, I'm trying not to talk long. Stop cutting me
I
off.
keep cutting you off. But because I'm gonna forget. And the other day, because kids they watch YouTube and all that stuff,
Yeah.
watch the clips and stuff like that. This dude, he be listening to the little inspirational Bible clips that be coming on. And he told me, he's like, "Dad, yeah, I be listening to God." And he was like,
That's
like,
so cute.
And he said, "I listen to it, I like it, and I comment amen."
Yeah,
And
that is
then
cute.
the other day, like I heard him listening to it, and I'm just like, this dude over here. I'm like, yo, you
gonna make me cry,
You just listening to Pokemon. Like,
because you think that they're not
but I'm like, yo,
listening.
you on a tablet when you in
You're
church.
on
Like,
tab- when I tell you Pootie, because Pootie said something like the other day. So we sitting in the car pulling up to church, getting ready for camp, and he said something like, somebody said, I think Jada was like, "Yo, you love church" or something like that. I think it was something like that, and then Pootie like really, what did he say?
They started talking about something. Jaden asked about church, and then they said something, and it had to do with the story in the Bible.
Yeah.
So Pootie was like, "Oh yeah, I read that," because we got him a little, kid Bible.
He tried to
I just
read it in
that
one day.
Yeah, he did.
That's your kid.
Yeah.
he said, "Pootie,
Yes.
Kids, yo.
So
you gotta get Pootie the big Bible."
he said,
You got the red word.
Yeah.
he said, "Yeah, I just read that in the Bible, and it was a story." And they started laughing. And then Layla was in the car. She said, "Where you read that at?
That ain't say
That ain't in my Bible."
That ain't say well, Layla, you gotta keep reading.
So just to hear your kids talk
Talking
about the
about it.
Bible, have
Sorry,
a
we bullies
discussion.
over here. What you was saying?
No, go
And
ahead.
then Zoe, like you said, you pray. Prayer is a big thing for us. We make our kids pray every day, and we have to. And I make them pray individually. Like you gonna say your prayer first. You gonna say your prayer, and then we give them like this word of the week or whatever. And so we'll do that with them every single day.
They try to be slick and say that prayer fast.
Yeah, but we make them say it individually because they one over them be like, and then nobody. But to say that, Zoe woke up this morning and she's giving me her to-do list of what she's gonna do today. So she was like, okay. So I was like, so what are you gonna do? Whatever. I told her I was gonna do whatever I'm doing, and then she goes, well, I'm gonna read my devotion, and then after my devotion, I'm gonna write down some stuff. then I'm gonna take a shower, and then I'm gonna do my hair. This is my 12-year-old daughter. I'm like,
She has a real schedule. I love everything
you making
about
more
her.
progress than me. I thought I was gonna lay down.
I'm trying to go to bed.
That's how
But
it is. It's just like that's
Yeah.
the separation. Like I feel like our
Yeah.
parents were very like, I'm gonna steer you into Christianity,
Right.
versus I'm gonna sit down with you and help you understand
Right.
Christianity.
And answer those why
Right.
questions.
And I feel
Yeah.
like that's what separates us, or that's what you learn from parenting.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn from your parents, and I feel like. My mom, she just, was like, you better not do this, and you better be, and no to this, and it's just
Enough
like,
on mommy, yo. You
okay.
wildin'.
No, that's how it was, though. Especially me being a girl, it's just like, and the baby, so it's just like, stay in the house. Like, so once I got older, it was just like, you wanted to explore. But it's just like, if you're honest, and even those uncomfortable conversations, like sex, you gotta have, but you have to have those.
You have to have them.
But you have to have those conversations. You have to have
Because
them.
they're having them.
Exactly.
They're having
Like
them.
I sit here and I listen to the conversations that my daughter have with her 6th grader friends in the group chats they be having and stuff
Tyler
like
Perry
that.
movie.
Oh my
Bro.
goodness! I said, let me look at this. What somebody done said? Let me see. But I'm that parent that is very involved in my kids' faces as far as but I let them know that you can find a friend in me. I'm not your friend. No, I'm just playing. But you can find a friend in me.
Yeah.
So Zoe and she's the first one that's gonna go through or everything. So we've created that relationship. Something that I wish my mom did, as far as like creating a journal.
Right,
So
because
where
we have the
you're
journal, yeah.
So where you're uncomfortable with asking me the questions to my face, but you really want to know, write it to me. It gives me time to process as the mom because I am Tessie's child and we fly off. Like, it's not a, oh, okay. It's a, get it. Like,
That's good.
But, right. And I'm happy and proud of myself because it builds our bond. And it's like, you know, she feels comfortable and she gets the answers that she's looking for, and she's not learning from nobody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm telling her, like, you know, because I learned some stuff from my friends, and it wasn't always good things.
It's not good things.
Yo,
not
Key, do
good
this.
Yo, you know what's
Yeah.
I
something
shouldn't
though?
have did that.
Shouldn't have did that.
I do want to. I
Shouldn't
do
have
want
did that,
to.
Lord.
We want to. We want to like.
This
Nah, I'm about to say because you think we could do a part 2 to this, so y'all want to keep going. Because we about